Hi, honey.
Hi.
What are you going to make for me today?
I'm making spaghetti bolognese, otherwise known as spaghetti with meat sauce.
Now, when we make stuff or we make food for each other that the other one really likes, what do we usually say?
You can make that for me anytime.
Right, and you certainly can make this for me anytime. It's one of my favorite things that you make. So are you going to take us through the recipe?
Yeah, I'm going to show you what I do, and I'm just going to tell you about how I came to make this for the first time.
Wicked. Okay, go for it.
So when we first met, you said to me, can you make me some spaghetti with meat sauce? And I said, sure. And I made it by putting a little bit of meat in with a pre-packaged tomato sauce in a can. And of course, that wasn't quite what you had in mind. So I went and asked my Italian friends at work how to make a real, true tomato sauce. And they gave me a few tips, and I've been making it this way ever since.
And I love it when you make it for me. Okay, so what's in it?
So we're gonna start with some ground beef.
Okay.
This is lean ground beef, but medium ground beef would be good as well.
Okay.
We have some mini portobello mushrooms that were already sliced up. You can really use any kind of mushrooms though, whatever. This just happened to be what we had on in the fridge.
Okay.
A red pepper,
Right.
an onion, some tomato paste,
Right.
and a can of diced tomatoes.
Okay. There it is.
And so what I do first is, I've got to turn on the oven. Yes, just on medium heat, and I'm gonna cook it all in this one big pan.
Okay.
So I'm going to start by putting the meat in to brown.
Okay.
And as it's cooking in here, it's browning, I'm going to chop up all the vegetables and then fry them in the pan before they go into the sauce.
Cool.
I'm going to start by frying up the mushrooms.
Okay.
I just like to cook all the vegetables first before I put it in the sauce, because otherwise it takes too long for it to cook in the actual tomato sauce, and then you get really chunky raw vegetables in your sauce.
Okay.
So these are going to fry up, and right now the ground beef is just starting to brown in here, and everything else is just going to go into this pan once it's cooked up. Okay, so these mushrooms are looking like they're almost done. So what I'm going to do is just turn down the heat a bit, and then I just take them off, and then I use the same pan to cook the,
Jumper.
Yeah.
We'll get them later.
To cook the next vegetable, which is my onions. Put those in there to fry up.
So what's next?
Okay, so the meat has browned, and it had a little bit of water and some extra fat in it, so I drained that out. And now I'm going to add the can of diced tomatoes, and I'm adding the liquid that they were in as well, because you need that.
Okay.
And then a can of tomato paste. And if you were just making a tomato sauce without the meat, then this is where you would begin. You wouldn't be browning the meat, you would just be adding in the tomatoes with the tomato paste.
For our vegetarian friends?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we're going to take a little bit of sugar.
Sugar.
And it's probably about, I'd say, 1/4 cup of sugar.
Wow.
It's quite a bit.
Okay.
Just because that brings out the sweetness of the tomatoes. I'm going to stir it all up and just let it continue to simmer on low. Okay, so I have the mushrooms that I cooked earlier. My onions are cooking, and now that I've added the tomatoes and the tomato paste to the meat, I'm going to add the mushrooms into that pot. And then I'm going to take the onions directly from the pan and put them in.
And those just had a nice saute to soften them up, right?
Yes, not overcooked. Just to make all the vegetables soft so that they're not crunching in your tomato sauce when you eat it. Okay, and I'm gonna mix them all in. And then in the meantime, as this continues to cook, I have my pepper that I've chopped up, and I'm also going to start sauteing that. And when that's done, I'll add it into this pot as well.
Okay.
Okay, so my peppers are softened up, and I'm going to add them to the pan with the meat and the tomatoes and all the other veggies. And then I'm going to add in some of our seasoning as well. Now this has taken me a while to sort of perfect, and I'll give her the measurements in the recipe, but I always suggest that you taste it because every time I make it, it's always a little bit different. And I just taste it. So we need some salt, a little bit of pepper, and then I use the Worcester sauce.
Say it again.
Worcester sauce.
Okay.
To add some tanginess to this. So it's probably about maybe 2 tablespoons.
Okay.
And again, I just keep tasting it to make sure that it's the way that I want it to taste. So mix that all in. It's quite a chunky sauce.
That's what I like about it.
Yeah, we both like it that way. And if you don't like all these vegetables, or you don't like it chunky, you could cut your vegetables smaller or just not put them in. These are just the standard ones that I use because we usually always have these ones in our fridge. And the next thing is this, it's already pre-mixed spicy spaghetti seasoning, which has a mix of different spices in it. So there's some oregano, basil, thyme leaves, and onions and garlic. And I just pour it in again to taste, but it's probably also a couple tablespoons. Okay, so that's just ready to sit and simmer for a little bit just to absorb all the flavors of the herbs that I've added in. So I'm just gonna put the lid on it, set it to low, and let it simmer for probably 10 minutes, and I'll just come back and check it later and make sure that it's ready to go. You can
Someone
hear the
wants
baby
you.
crying in
That's
the back,
right.
so I gotta go. All right, so the sauce has been simmering for about 10 minutes and it's ready to serve. We're just going to boil up some spaghetti and put it on top.
Let's get a nice close up here. Looks great.
So here's the spaghetti with meat sauce, or spaghetti bolognese, ready to go. And we also have a little bit for our 2.5-year-old. It's great for kids. She's been eating it since she was eating solid food. You can just chop it up or puree it, and so it's great for kids and adults too.
Abby, do you want some spaghetti?
Yeah.
You're gonna have some spaghetti?
Yeah.
Okay.